Hello and welcome, my cockroach hunters. How you guys doing today? We are actually, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but we are almost done with BLoons Monkey City. So we're going to be playing a regrow Moab tile. I don't know what's going on. BLoons Monkey City seems to be being kind of evil today. Loading. What the heck is this? Such a loading time. I don't know. I think it's just the servers or something like that. So it's boom, 20 lives, 25 lives right from the get-go. I know, we are that awesome. So because we have 4,500 mother effing dollars over here, guys, we're gonna go boom, ninja, I don't really know if I need banana farms. I'm probably just gonna get like one banana farm. I don't want to go crazy. I know that's something that I normally do. I go crazy with my banana farms, and then eventually I realized that it costs me lives and it costs me issues and everything. I realized, by the way, that this is a regrow tile, so it's gonna be, kind of difficult for us, but I still think we can handle it pretty easily without going crazy with the banana farms. Beyond that, I don't know if you guys realized, but I started off calling you guys cockroach udders. Whoa, why would I even go there? That just sounds weird and kind of crazy. So actually, believe it or not, I wanted to talk a little bit about this new article that came out that talks about cockroach milk and how it's quote-unquote a superfood. I know, that's kind of weird, right? And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like insects. I feel like a lot of people overlook it, and a lot of people don't like insects, to be honest. And I want to talk about why I actually like, not just like think, oh, whatever, they're insects. Why I actually like them or find them really, really interesting. And when I say I like them, that doesn't mean I like to hang out with them and like to touch them all over the place and squeeze them and like have them, in and around my body. No. That's not really what I'm talking about. More along the lines of, I think they're just really, really interesting and like fun to study / look at / understand. I think understanding things is fun, and understanding insects is definitely one of the funnest things I can think of. This article was about cockroach milk, and I guess what happened is like the researchers were talking about cockroach milk and how it was like a quote-unquote superfood, and then what happened is a lot of people were like, oh my god, people are going to be drinking cockroach milk soon? Oh, this is horrible! No, we're not going to be drinking cockroach milk. That's terrible. And then the researchers were like, oh my god, what the heck are you guys talking about? We're not talking about humans drinking this thing. They're just talking about how it's a superfood for the insects that do eat it, and like how nutritious it is, and like the proteins and all that stuff. So there was just this really weird kind of I don't know, maybe not like outbreak, but like in the scientific community, everybody was like, okay, this makes sense. But in like, once this broke out to like the public a little bit, and it didn't go crazy viral or anything like that, but some people were freaking out a little bit like, oh my god, cockroach milk, I better start drinking cockroach milk. Can I buy cockroach milk? I'm going to buy an entire glass and drink it because it's so darn healthy for you. But really what the researchers were saying was that, like I said, that cockroaches are very good mothers, surprisingly. You would think that, you would think that, insects are really bad mothers and just don't care about their babies and stuff like that. You'd be surprised. There's actually quite a few insects that are very good mothers, actually, and really do care about their little babies. So we got some pretty crazy things going on right now. I'm going to go for a cannon. They're super duper cheap, and you can get them kind of like in the front here with a lot of popping power. So as long as we're just taking care of some of the balloons, that allows our ninja to do more Moab popping power and stuff. So that's definitely a good thing. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that insects are surprisingly like good mothers and stuff like that. Most of the time, I would say I'd probably say it's actually kind of rare, to be honest. I would say more often than not, bugs just kind of like poop out a bunch of babies, and then whatever survive. But every once in a while, you get some good moms where the babies actually like live inside of them. Which is actually kind of weird because, normally they lay eggs and then the eggs hatch and there's like tiny little, insects over there, or little tiny like maggots or grubs or something like that, or little tiny larva states for them, and then they just grow and then eventually get bigger and then eventually like turn into a fly or whatnot. But for some of these guys, they actually grow inside of the body, which is, I think, was kind of, oh my god, look at that, man, we're actually having trouble against these little balloons over here. So we actually have to use a set of road spikes, one green balloon somehow sneak by. But because this is a regrow tile, and I know that this could be kind of problematic, I'm going to go for my 4th tier banana farm, and then we're going to start spamming whatever we can as fast as we can. Some Moab Maulers, probably a couple boomerangs. I don't want to get too many boomerangs, though, because I just know that those guys aren't that effective overall. I mean, I used to think that they were the most boss tower in the entire world, and then pretty quickly I realized that maybe not quite as boss-delicious as I thought. So yeah, look at that. We already had to use quite a few sets of road spikes over here. And I'm going to get at least a boomerang. Let's get one boomerang over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I'll get a couple of maulers. Look at that. Oh, we got a BFB coming out already. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oops, I got a fire mage on accident. Whoops. That's okay. He's not like the end of the world or anything. He's actually in a pretty good spot, too. Like, his range is really, really good when he can go 1, 2, and get a third little spot over there to attack as well. So no, the question has arose, are people going to be drinking cockroach milk, and are we going to have cockroach farms where people just literally, you know, milk the cockroaches and stuff like that? No, it doesn't work that way. They don't have udders, they don't have nipples, they don't produce milk like that. It's actually kind of like a secretion into like where the baby is kept. I don't even know what the heck it's called. We can call it the uterus if you want, but that's not the way it is. And I guess they release it in there, and then the little baby insect inside, which is not like an egg, it's actually a little insect, actually eats that milk from inside the body, which is definitely not how it works for, you know, mammals or humans or anything. Obviously, when you're inside the body, you are attached to an umbilical cord, and that umbilical cord feeds you all of the air and all the stuff that you need. So yeah, definitely works way, way different than humans and all that stuff. So no, not going to be having cockroach farms milking people and stuff, or milking cockroaches and stuff. That just sounds weird. On the other hand, it's actually kind of interesting to think about this. Insects are one of the most nutritious foods in the world. You're probably thinking, oh my goodness gracious, Chris, what are you talking about? Just shut up. Oh my God, that's so gross. Oh my God, that's so gross. But before you get too far in here, now you got to understand this, all right? So think of the trophic scale. You know, you got, you know, the big top predators like eagles and stuff like that. They're getting very little nutrition from all of the animals. Basically, the way that they say it, you know, just on average, about 10% of the energy that you eat will be passed down to the thing that eats you. So when you're thinking about, you know, the giant food web, or the, you know, yeah, let's just say the food web. You know, you got a worm. I don't know, maybe I don't know. Let's start small. An insect that eats a plant. So the plant has 100% of the energy. The insect eats that. He only has 10% of the energy. A bird eats the insect. He only gets 1% of the energy. And then a gianter bird, like an eagle, kills the other smaller bird and only gets, you know, 0.1% of the energy. So you can see how quickly that it goes from 100% of the energy down to 0.1% of the energy. So, and what we're doing is that as humans, as we're trying to, you know, break that down as little as possible, so we basically eat most animals that eat directly from vegetables, or directly from, you know, plants. So like cows and stuff like that with, oh my God, we have so much money. What are we going to do with it all? Oh my God, I don't even know. Let's get a couple specters. Let's just pop these guys in here. Boom, 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 boom. Boom-ba-day, boom-ba-day, boom. I have all of my money, that's what I'm going to do. Just going to buy the specters. So we just basically feed animals that, you know, the grains. So they're going from the 100% of the energy from the plants, that got it from the sun, obviously, and then down to 10% from the, you know, the animals. And then we eat the animals, which we only get about 1% of the energy from the original plants. Now, it's what another really good thing to do though is there's so many insects on the planet, ridiculous amounts of insects. Like it's kind of ridiculous how many insects there are. You don't understand where. Like seriously, this is just a good way to understand how many insects there are on the planet / whatever. So I go outside. So I have my little toads. I don't know if you guys realize I've got my little baby toads over here, and I feed them every once in a while. And what I do is all I have to do. I walk outside in the grass, yes, in the grass, outside, like normal grass that people would have at their house. And I take a little plastic container, and I just go scoopity, 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 scoop, and I scoop it back and forth like 10, 20 times, and then after I close the lid on that thing, guess how many bugs I have in that thing? You're thinking like, oh man, like Chris, you actually had to go out and like individually catch all these bugs with like your fingers and stuff like that, or like a net and stuff, and like scoop all over the place to catch a few bugs. No, I'm not talking about grasshoppers or, you know, those big ones that we're used to. I just went out there and I took a little plastic container with a tiny little hole on top, scrape it back and forth. I get thousands of bugs inside of my, you know, container in there. So yeah, like I was saying, before you guys think that I'm super duper gross and stuff like that and saying insects, you know, everybody should eat insects. No, I'm not an advocate of everybody eating insects. I'm just saying that it's actually one of the most efficient ways to get a lot of energy pretty quickly, and it's actually not as gross as you might have thought. Some people think that it's super duper gross because, yeah, it's insects. We don't do that around here. You know, they only do that in China and those stupid places that are like, gross. They don't need to eat insects there. They can eat animals. They have chickens and stuff like that. They have all those things over there. It's not a big deal for them to want to eat chicken and stuff like that. But the insects, they like them there. They think they're interesting. They eat scorpions and giant grasshoppers and stuff like that. And I think it's more of a cultural thing is the reason why that we don't eat those guys. Honestly, we probably should. And here's the thing, though. You're probably thinking, wow, they're going to taste absolutely gross. No, I actually ate some chocolate-covered crickets before. I took an entomology course, by the way, in college. It was a 300-level course. It was actually pretty in-depth about all this stuff. And at the end of the year, my TA was like, you know what? I'm going to make you guys some chocolate-covered crickets. And I'm like, hey, that actually sounds pretty good. Let's try them out. Let's see what happens. You know, I mean, actually, to be honest, at first I thought it was going to be kind of gross. I was like, that's kind of gross, but I'm willing to try everything once. I ate it, and I was like, this is actually quite delicious. Like, obviously, they weren't raw, and you just had little chocolate. Like, you cooked them in oil, which makes them kind of, at that point, almost bad for you because you're cooking them in, like, so much fat and everything. But still, they tasted surprisingly good. Like, I was like, this is, like, better than a chocolate-covered, you know, peanut or a chocolate-covered raisin. It was that good. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it was. And also, very nutritious. So even though you obviously the chocolate isn't all that nutritious, the cricket was. You know, they're just full of protein. That's what they are. That's what insects are. They're just protein in a bottle. In a little tiny exoskeleton cage right there. Not much fat. They don't really have much fat. They're just protein. You know, it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. So anyways, we're going to stop talking about bugs all that much. I guess here, one other thing is, why do I think bugs are so darn interesting? Well, as you guys probably know, I really like just, you know, ecology, insects, animals, biology, all that stuff, microbiology. I love all of that type of stuff. I don't know exactly why I like it all, but I do know that I just find it super duper interesting. I find it interesting because of the kind of like the ridiculous nature. You know, I started off where I just really liked looking at different kinds of animals that were really good at stupid stuff. So, you know, I really liked my favorite show of all time, I think to this day, was Top 10 on Animal Planet. And what they would do is they'd say the top 10 social insects, or the top 10 social animals, or whatever. And, like, they would show these, like, the top 10, they'd be like, oh, number 10 was, like, I don't know, something stupid, like, meerkats or something. They're like, meerkats, they do this really cool thing where they build all these nests underground, and they work together by, like, looking out for animals. Like, there's one that always one's the lookout, and then a bunch of them are always, like, running around trying to get food and stuff like that. And it's like, it's kind of cool how they like work socially together. And then you know, eventually you get up to like ants or something where you're like, wow, ants, you know, like, oh, they're not that social or cool or anything, right? Well, I mean, they got these giant colonies, and for their size, they build the most gigantic, crazy things ever. Like termites too, they build ridiculously awesome sized things. And not only do they just build these guys, they're actually designers. They engineer these things to be really, really cool. For example, they always build them, I don't remember what direction it is, but I think they build them like always where like the flat side faces north or something like that, so it gets a lot less sun, north and south, and like, and then like east and west is like very skinny, so it gets very little sun, so it doesn't heat up too hot. And then they also build like certain chambers that, somehow, I don't know how they thought of this or how they do this, but they'll build like specific little chambery type areas that lead to certain places that somehow get airflow to flow through the entire thing. Basically brings cool air in and shoots hot air out. Oh no. Oh my god, I can't believe we're actually losing lives already. What the heck, man? I guess I kind of understand. I'm relying a lot on my ninja right now. So let's get one more of those guys. Another 4-2 ninja. I'm actually going to spam mostly those guys. This is going to be a Zoma God Tile, so the best thing to do against Zoma God Tiles, in my opinion, Moebs, Moeballers, and 4-2 ninjas. So yeah, it started off with that top 10 thing where I just absolutely loved that show. I don't know what it was about it. It was just cool to see all these special, honestly, specialized animals. The fastest animals. And you think, oh man, cheetah, right? And then they're like, well, I mean, for their size, this is technically the fastest guy. Or best jumpers, and you're like, well, you know, obviously a frog's gonna be up there, right? Number 10, the frog. Like, I was like, what? And then they go into all these weird little insects and stuff that have like these really crazy jumping things, like I don't even think fleas were the highest up there. I think it was a Colembala, I think was the highest one or something like that. And They have these ridiculous springing things where they can shoot themselves like thousands of times their own body size, and it's like just absolutely ridiculous, some of these insects. And that's what got me kind of into insects, because I was like, what's actually winning a lot of these top 10 things? It's not humans, it's not gorillas, it's not giraffes, you know. I mean, it's these really crazy little insects that are doing a lot of the stuff. And usually it's because, you know, it's for their size, they do this the best. You know, the fastest insect for its size, you know, runs way faster than a cheetah because its size is obviously smaller. So yeah, I just found that stuff really cool, and then that kind of led to me just being intrigued by bacteria and how they're literally everywhere. You know, when I was a kid, I never realized how many bugs and stuff were everywhere. I used to think, oh wow, there's a lot of bugs out there. I can go outside and I can catch a few bugs every single time I go out there. Then I realized how darn easy it is to just get basically as many as I want. And that's why I saw an article the other day. It was actually really cool. They were talking about the, you know, Pokemon Go. They were like, okay, you know what is Pokemon Go? They're like, basically an entomologist is playing Pokemon Go in real life. And then they showed like these cool caterpillars that looks like Caterpie, and they showed, you know, a lot of these other cool bugs, and basically they just talked about, you know, like the 10 points of why entomologists are is like playing Pokemon Go in real life. And it made sense. The only difference is obviously, you know, you don't get to battle them, and you don't get to, get to go to gyms and battle them. But other than that, you get to name them, you get to, you know, if you discover a new insect, you know, you get to do whatever you want with that guy, you get to, you know, I guess have fun with them or whatnot. And it's basically like going out and trying to catch new insects that have never been discovered before, and then knowing what's what. You know, it's like, oh yeah, and obviously it's kind of fun to be like, oh, that's a Squirtle. Well, that's kind of fun to be like, oh, that's you know, horsefly, or that's a blah blah blah, whatever kind of insect that is. And the craziest thing about it, though, I think, is one reason why this might put people off is that there's, instead of 150, and you gotta catch them all, there is billions of different kinds of insects. I don't know if I want to go with billions. Definitely millions of species of different kinds of insects. Maybe even 100 million. I don't know, man. I don't remember exactly what the number is. I think there was something like supposed to be 10 million different species of insects, and they keep raising the number, and then lowering the number, then raising the number. So I'm gonna go with just definitely millions of species of insects. And no, obviously nobody can ever catch millions of species of insects. There's no way you can catch them all. So I guess that might put people off a little bit. You know, the overwhelmingness of starting off trying to catch them all is just ain't gonna happen, buddy. It just ain't gonna happen. Though discovering new species is definitely cool. So in Pokemon, there's no such thing as a new species. There is 150. Obviously, when they came out with the new games, they're like, oh, look at this. We somehow magically discovered 150 new Pokemon that didn't exist before. Wow, our professors must have sucked at Pokemon if they're going to discover 150 new ones like that. But anyways, I thought that was kind of cool, and I was like, you know, I actually, as a job, if I didn't have to travel all over the place, I would not mind being an entomologist. I think that would be kind of a cool job, to be honest. I think it would be kind of a cool thing to do. Alright, so we're struggling a little bit right here, guys. Let's get, what do you guys want to get? Let's get a couple more cannons. I think that's definitely an important thing to get. Let's get like a couple 4th tier cannons over here. Actually, I feel pretty good though overall. And we're also going to get up to 2 too. So if you guys don't know this, definitely upgrade the Spectre up. Definitely upgrade the Monkey Village when next to a Spectre. I don't know how or why, but it makes it so much ridiculously better. Like, I'm almost going to say like a 1.5, maybe almost 2 times better, magically. I don't know how it works. I don't understand how it works, but it just does. I kind of want to do a test like that, where you test one Spectre versus a Monkey Village Spectre. And obviously the money is going to play into that. You know, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but every single tower in the range of that guy is going to get upgraded as well. So, I mean, it's not like a negative thing ever to go for a Monkey Village. It actually saves you money, even while getting the upgrades, some of the upgrades, just by buying like 2 Spectres. Because you save what? Cost $15,000. You save like $3,000 on 2 Spectres right then and there. So you're basically spending the money that you saved on the few little extra upgrades that make them better. Yeah. So last few little Zomagats to take down. Overall, today was pretty fun, I think. If you guys ever have any suggestions on ideas / topics you'd like me to talk about, that's fantastic. There's certain things that obviously I don't want to talk about. Somebody mentioned that I should talk about 9/11, and I'm like, no thank you. That's just, I don't really want to talk about that kind of thing. And, or give me broad topics. Don't talk about, you know, I don't know exactly, man. more just like ideology sort of topics, where I can just kind of give you guys my opinions and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be fact-based and everything. I think a lot of people want me to talk about fact-based things. I just don't really want to talk about it all that much, you know, that's just my opinion. But anyways, BLoons Monkey City, we're powerhousing through these guys. Absolutely, dude. We're gonna actually, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna, like, go diagonal like 2, and go diagonal probably 2 this way, and we're gonna be done with this quadrant already. Look at that. Already, guys, we're done with this entire area. Oh, no, wait. Yep, nope, we're done. We did it, I think so. I can't actually tell if that's a thingamabob, but maybe I'll do one more that way just to confirm, you know, in the very end or whatnot. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you press the like button. Obviously, I do appreciate those. Thanks for watching. Have a super duper delicious day.